like a 10 minutes game at chess.com. Let's see who I'm going to play with. Cool, someone like with 2100, and I will start with French defense. Okay, 92, that is one of the book moves, so this is the main line, and I will still attack the center. Okay, bishop d3, that's pretty good, so it's like controlling this diagonal, and I am challenging the center. This is what we usually do at French defense, so I have very like two knights targeting at d4 and e5. So far we played the book move. Yeah, this is just another pawn to attack the center. Take. Okay, so yeah, this is something different from a book move. So most of players are using the c pawn to take the knight because it's from c3 to d4. Then white has a center pawn. So now it used the e2 knight to take the pawn. It has a very good like connected knights. The two knights are connected. This is a good combination. So what I'm thinking, should I exchange with the knight? So if I take, well, I probably use the pawn or the knight to take it back. The knight is quite strong at center, so taking that should not be a bad idea. But if I don't take the knight, so is there any threat to my pieces? So the knight could probably take my knight and take back. So e5 could probably take the center square. Or maybe I can move the bishop to d6 first. And then I could go to b5 to trade my bishop. I don't really want the bishop to be traded. Okay, I will take that. Since this is center knight, so I think this trade doesn't do any bad thing for me. So yeah, I'm drawing marks where I'm like playing, but this is not something I recommend when you play chess at chess.com, because in real life it's impossible to draw the lines. I'm just highlighting the thought for the audience. Okay, both sides have castle, king is safe, a bishop g5. So it looks my knight is pinned, but it's I don't need to worry about that because I have a rook protect the knight. My queen is still free to go, so I will probably move it to b6. I am targeting these two pawns. This is isolated pawn. This is a hanging pawn. So I have an open semi-open file. This is a strength of mine, and I have a very strong dark square bishop. But the downside for me, this light square bishop is underdeveloped, and also this is a backward pawn. So knight e5. Can I take the pawn? Probably not, because bishop h7. I will lose the queen. That's too bad. So can I do something else? So if I move the king to h8, the knight at e5 is really annoying, right? But if I'm playing knight d7, white will probably move queen to h5. So this is dangerous. If I trade the knight, I will lose my pair bishop. And once my knight go away, the queen still will go to h5. h6, take, take. Yeah, I will like kick the dark square bishop to see if it wants to change my knight, exchange with my knight. So I'm a bit short on time, so I have to be playing a bit quicker. Bishop h4. Now can I? No, knight g6. Nah. Yeah, it's a bit hard. How can I develop pieces? If I play g5, is that too aggressive? The bishop go to here. The king is too exposed. King g7? Maybe, let's do that. It's a bit aggressive. But maybe my opponent doesn't expect this. King g7. So now my king move up, so I can maybe take the pawn later. But I figure out there is a problem. Knight c4. I will lose pieces. Okay. So if I play knight c4, I will lose the bishop. This is no, never mind. Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm thinking about discover attack, but apparently it's not. So h4. Can I take the pawn now? Take, maybe knight f3. I put my queen back. The g5 pawn is. So the time control is 10 minutes without any increment, so I need to be aware of my time management. Let me do that. I think it's safe. There is no discover attack. So what I'm thinking is maybe knight f3 attacking my queen, and if my queen, I can have my queen have to, yeah, have to protect my d6. I might lose the g5, but I can open the h file if white pawn, like taking my pawn. So you see, like I'm thinking while my opponent is using the time. So that could save me a lot of time. And also I can expect, okay, yeah, this is in my expectation. So yeah, I can play very quick because everything is under control. Rook h2. Knight f3 could be the next move. Then I can open up the push the pawn to e4, so I can open up this diagonal, and also I don't have a backward pawn anymore. But the downside is my king is really exposed, so I need to consider the king's safety. The good thing is I have a knight. The knight controls these two squares, so the queen cannot go to these two squares to attack my king. Okay, g3. Okay. So can I play e5 as we planned? If we play e5, we can push the pawn to e4, or at least we can move our bishop out. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm thinking about bishop g4 to attack the queen. Okay, rook c1. There is something. Oh, rook c7. No, rook c7. I control this square. Never mind. But e4. E4 is the problem. Take, take, take. The pawn is pinned. Yeah. I'm thinking to doubling these two rooks. If the queen goes to c2, I will move my rook to like c8 to attack the queen. I have two pieces controlling c file. Control c8. And if I play e4, knight take. I mean, if the queen goes to d2, e4, knight take, I can probably bishop to f3. Oh, okay, never mind. white play bishop f3. Okay, so this diagonal is open. I could potentially have something to do. If I move bishop to h3, rook f2, there's nothing happens. E4, take. I need to move my bishop to d7 because if the pawn take my bishop, this file is open, and I don't really like that. That makes my king like more exposed. Bishop to d7. The good thing is, after the bishop attack, white push this pawn up, so we have a very clear diagonal. And also this second rank is also open. Maybe that's something we can do later. So I cannot push pawn to f3, but I can probably attack the knight. The knight is hanging. Let's see how well my opponents defend the knight. Probably push pawn to f4. Yes. Okay, so can I move another rook? If pawn take, I can take. I have a very strong queen at the center, and the king is in danger. Let's do that. And I can play bishop to g4 again. The pawn is not f3 yet anymore. So yeah, so this is a principle I followed. Involve as many pieces as possible to attack the king, and also open file is really important, and also open diagonal, open files, open ranks. So let's see how it goes. Maybe I can move bishop to c6 later to attack the king. So let's see what would white play. So I have 3 minutes, my opponent have 5 minutes. If I move rook to h2, the king go down. For example, I can check like this. So this is a very threatening attack. King goes up, I can probably check like this to capture the queen. Awesome. It looks like very tricky for my opponent. Knight f3, protect f2. Probably I can play bishop h3 is fine to rein in the rook, or e4. There's a fork in. Okay, what else my opponent would do? Very tricky. So the gap between the time is getting close, which means my opponent is facing a big problem, I think. So I'm still using the time from opponent to think. So I like to say something about my king. It's being exposed, I agree. But the good thing for the king is the open files are controlled by my rooks. And the diagonal is open, but the important squares, for example, this f5 and h7 are controlled by my pieces. That's good. But if the queen, for example, at d3 and the bishop at like b1, so the g6 is a weakness. So this is something I need to be aware. But another good thing for me is I can maybe push the pawn to e4 to like close this diagonal, or maybe rook to h6 to adding okay, rook g1. Interesting. What is the purpose? Maybe give a place for the king. If I check, the king goes to f1. If I play queen to d6, maybe rook to so this diagonal, I don't think my opponent can defend. I would check that. Any problem with this move? Is there any, maybe rook c2? But I think I have found a way. So if rook c2, I will take the rook, take rook h1, I can win the queen. It seems I can win material, win the rook. Is there any better plan than this? So we have to be very quick at finding opportunities. Okay, so my opponent has filled less time than mine, so that's a good sign. Let's see how will the game end up. Maybe queen to f3 could also be a good. Okay, queen e1. This is something I didn't expect. Okay, let's see. Okay, how now knight will take that. Check. E4. How about e4 to at least adding some pressure to my opponent, since my opponent is short on time. And let's see where the bishop could go. So if the bishop go to this diagonal, probably I can check this diagonal, and that's also use the bishop to check. If bishop stay at like e2, I will probably play knight g4, take bishop to g4. So I'm still very safe. Okay, but what about queen c3? That's something I need to be aware. If my knight go to g4, queen c3 is something. If I go king to g6, okay, I think I'm still safe. So bishop e2. If bishop goes to okay. So if I take the bishop, the queen can go to e7. Take, check. Now b3. Queen to d4. Yeah, just adding another pressure on the d3. I think the bishop should go to if the bishop go to e2, what can I? Okay, b5 is that giving up the bishop? I think my opponent is under time pressure, so he blundered the bishop, and I can, yeah, checkmate. Yeah. Oh. Made the pre-move. Yeah. Cool. Some summary. Okay, the opponent wants to have another game, but let's quickly summarize something we can learn from this game. So I think at the beginning I did really well. So the book move for white is taking that with a pawn, and it take with the knight. So I can probably develop bishop to d6. I didn't do that because I don't really like two knights protecting each other at center. But what the engine suggests is bishop d6. So yeah, maybe I can later push e5 to kick the knight away. Bishop d6, and if I take, I can still play e5. If queen to e2, I can castle first, and then queen to c7 and push the pawn to e5. Yeah, so then I have very strong control at the center. So I take that, pawn take that. So then this pawn is a problem. This is a backward pawn. Yeah, this is a learning for me. The first thing is I don't have to exchanging the knight. This exchanging is not good because once the pawn reaches to d4, the e6 pawn is really hard to be pushed up. Bishop g5, queen b6, knight e5, h6. I'm not sure if that's a good move. So yeah. So what engine suggests is knight e4, but am I getting really ugly double pawns at the center? I don't really like that. I don't know. But I have pair bishop. Maybe there's something I compensate. But this pawn is really bad. I don't like that. I think h6 is okay. And g5. Is g5 also recommended by the engine? No. The engine always suggests me playing knight e5. Maybe opening up this diagonal. This is file. For bishop e5, I have considered this as well, but as I said, if the knight was kicked, for example, like this, I think white has very strong. Yeah, white is winning. I don't like that, so I play g5. That's a bit aggressive, but I figure out it's okay. Well, what does the engine tell me is I'm in problem. What's that? Bishop g3, king g7. Aha. Okay, so h4 is not a good move. Yeah, so this diagonal is white has a very strong control at this white diagonal, and the knight is also can help controlling g6. And also my bishop is pretty slow if I want to move it to getting closer to this diagonal. So the correct move is bishop to c2, bishop to b1. And probably next is queen to d3, and the queen g6 is will bring a lot headache to me. Yeah. If okay, so that's why engine suggests knight e4, because this is the only way I can stop this diagonal. But at this position, knight e4 is probably very late because take queen goes to h5. Yeah, queen g6. This is unstoppable. And if I take the ducks or bishop take, so this is the queen and the bishop are attacking my king, and also this rook can move to the c file, and I will be in trouble. And if I play rook f6 to protect g6, the knight goes c4. Yes, I will lose a bishop. Okay, so I'm glad that my opponent didn't find that out. h4. So my opponent wants to open up the h file. That actually doesn't make no sense because I could also be quickly developing the rook to h file. Yeah, this is something I think learning for me as well. That if we are not confident to control a file, don't open it. So it's easily to tell that black will be faster to control the h file, and this is also something I win the game. How I win the game, right? Make my rook to h2. So don't open up the file if you cannot control. This is a very important learning. And even though you win a pawn, right? Even though you win the pawn, that's I mean, losing control of a file is really bad, and especially the file is close to the king. The h4 is a very bad move. Take, knight f3, queen go back, take, yes. So this is something I expect, and I figure out it's actually better for black, favors black, so I don't mind turning the game into this position. e5, yes. Since the d4 pawn is gone, I should pushing the pawn to e4. And this light square bishop is come back to life again, and this is really a strong piece. f3, yeah, it's very tricky for black. f3, bishop go back, and I have this diagonal open. So, and later on I found these two diagonals that attack the king, right? So controlling open files, open diagonals are really important to attack. And yeah, doubling the rooks, as I said, involving, I almost involve, I think, all of the pieces, right? Apart from these 2 pawns to attack. This is really important. Queen b6, this is unstoppable. Yes, bishop b5, this is blunder. But I don't think white has any other way to avoid losing the game. So for example, bishop e2, I can play queen e3 to getting closer, and if the rook, for example, to the problems, the rook cannot go away from the back rank, because I can, like, rook h2 is okay, or e3, so I can win the rook, and my king is still safe. I don't need to worry about losing pieces. Since the c1 rook cannot go away, so I'm threatening like this, d4, d3, and if the bishop go away, for example like this, I can check bishop b5. Yeah, that's disaster. So that's it.